we got a game that is a little contentious, a little dividing. That is Days Gone. We all kicked this one around for a while, and the more we thought about it, we figured it was worth including. Because, to be honest, Days Gone didn't review too well. Days Gone also has some very clear shortcomings that I think most players can point out themselves. But, for some reason, can't quite put our finger on it, still couldn't stop playing it until the end. Now, of course, it is really long, the open world a little maybe too big for some folks, and it outstays its welcome a little bit, but Deacon St. John as a character and the compelling story makes you want to see it through to the end. I think Sam Witwer's performance as Deacon St. John was compelling and interesting, and you just wanted to look at the screen. And then on the gameplay side, the bike mechanics and just like driving around, racing around on a bike, and also the progression of upgrading your motorcycle just made it really interesting. It made up for the fact that fighting human characters kind of sucked, but the zombie encounters were awesome because of those massive, sprawling hordes of them. I wish there were more, but when you encountered them, they were pretty tense. And really, the game is just interesting. Some people love it, some people hate it. We have decided to lean more on the side that we really like it, and we're glad it's a game. We're definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys think about this one. Of course, talk to us in the comments about all this, and if you're curious about what we really think about it, check out our Before You Buy. But moving on to number 3, a game that we really loved at Before You Buy is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. This is, of course, another FromSoft game, the makers of Dark Souls and Bloodborne. So, yeah, of course it's good. What they do here differently is what makes it even more interesting. More verticality, more gadgets, a grappling hook, more emphasis on just waiting for the right moment to strike, properly parrying, and really doing all these new combos and abilities that you unlock to counter certain things. It is a really exciting game that manages to make you feel like an actual ninja. That was really ambitious and very challenging to pull off, and make it also feel like a challenging, rewarding FromSoft game, but damn it, they did it. The world is creepy and mysterious and intriguing. The enemy types are awesome to look at, but also incredibly challenging and beat you into a pulp. You're constantly learning through this game. The game punches you in the face until you figure out all of its systems. You literally can't progress until you do, and that's what makes it really, really fun. Of course, it's definitely not a game for everyone, like all of their games, but it's different enough that I think it's worth checking out. Maybe even if you weren't into Dark Souls, give this a shot. I am just so glad that Miyazaki and his team tried something completely different here, and it turned out really awesome, incredibly challenging, and just worth talking about. That's why it's definitely on our list. But moving down to number 2, we got Metro Exodus, a game where we really feel like they finally figured out this whole Metro thing. This game is fantastic. Despite the move to semi-open world areas, it doesn't feel shoehorned. We were really concerned here that the game would go to open world and it would feel like just a waste of space, kind of just like they made it open world to say it was open world, but it makes sense in the context of the game and is very fun and just interesting to go find and forage for new components and upgrades for Artyom. All of a sudden, Metro now has a new and exciting loop that totally makes it even more worthwhile. Not only that, whether you're playing on PC or console, the game looks damn incredible. It is an absolute looker, and I think the move to go away from nuclear winter and kind of highlight new areas of this post-apocalyptic, nuked-out Russia has given the designers so much to work with in terms of creating interesting environments. The game looks like concept art come to life in a lot of areas, while also still managing to maintain the Metro identity. You know, the thing doesn't forget where it came from. You still find yourself in dark hallways and fighting spooky monsters with tense situations and limited resources. Actually, this game has at least 1 or 2 really, really memorable, scary sequences that are worth experiencing along with the whole rest of the thing. Not only that, yeah, playing it is great, but the story is interesting as well. This is a world that you want to learn more about. This is a story with characters you want to follow, and really, Metro Exodus just nails it. It's a bummer that it did have some controversy with being an Epic Game Store exclusive on PC, but whether you're playing it on console, or maybe you're just waiting for a year for it to finally come on Steam, regardless, Metro Exodus is damn good. Now finally, down at number 1, we have, of course, you guessed it, Resident Evil 2. This remake, reimagining of the original Resident Evil 2 classic is exactly what we were hoping for. It lived up to the name, it lived up to the hype, it lived up to the nostalgia, while also doing its own thing here and there where it really mattered. It's just a fantastic game. It really retains and brings back all those survival horror elements we love so much. It takes, some of the best aspects and modernizations of Resident Evil 7, but of course, puts it in third person, like the old days, and gives us Raccoon City, Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, and the whole shebang. What's really exciting though, and the game has really blown up, especially with like memes and stuff around Mr. X, is just for the people who haven't experienced it back in the day, experiencing all of this weird, wacky Umbrella, Raccoon City stuff for the first time in 2019. It's just so cool to see that. I don't know. But it adds new things here and there to make it really interesting and really fresh, while also having the right amount of callbacks and nostalgia and just faithful recreations of stuff we loved in the original. Not only that, of course, like any good Resident Evil game worth its salt, it's incredibly replayable. There's reasons to go back and replay it on harder difficulties, unlock certain stuff. Top to bottom, like I'm looking at it as a Resident Evil fan, but like this checks all the boxes. This is a good Resident Evil game. It looks incredible. It's so high budget and action packed and just worth experiencing on that end. But also just if you boil it down to raw gameplay, it's worth it for that too, man. Resident Evil 2 is absolutely worth checking out. We love it, clearly, and that's why it's at number 1 on our list. But of course, that's not all. There's so many more games we can include. We got a couple bonus ones for you. The first one is Apex Legends, a free-to-play game that really took the world by storm in terms of just being another good battle royale game, but with that fresh, delicious Titanfall FPS style gameplay, thanks to Respawn. Now, some people did lose interest. The new update is coming out soon. I'm curious to see if it can keep the momentum going. Who knows? But it's weird that we're talking about it. It's actually like a good EA game. Also, as a runner-up, we have Mordhau, the PC melee historical combat-focused game. And yeah, the chat can be a little toxic and gross sometimes, but the gameplay, the core gameplay, is so fun, and the whole thing being so competitive, it still is worth checking out, and it's just a really good, solid PC experience. And another one we want to include briefly is Rage 2, another one that divided people, but we think that the injection of a little bit of Doom-style gameplay and just fun abilities to the original Rage, which we weren't crazy about, makes it worth checking out. It's a fun first-person shooter. But of course, again, these are our choices for games that we've really liked in 2019 so far, rounding some of them up. We want to hear yours down in the comments because you're definitely going to disagree. There's definitely a game that we didn't include on this list, so we want to hear from you. And of course, like if you can make your own top 5 or your own top 10 or your own top 3, let us know. But if you enjoyed this video and maybe learned about a game that wasn't on your radar, clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. We would appreciate that. And of course, if you're new, it's worth considering subscribing and hitting that notification button because we put out videos every single day. But hey, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.